This is Miami All Access.
Eric?
Yes.
The way you guys have played in the second halves this year, especially against, like, say, Eastern Michigan, going into the halftime with the lead, were you feeling pretty confident in the locker room at halftime there?
Definitely, we felt that we, executed our scout. So, I mean, we kind of just made breakdowns at the end. That's what kind of, decided this game. But for the most part, I think we did do a good job in the first half. I wish we could have just stayed into the scout more into the second half. We probably would have gave ourselves a better chance. So.
Did they change anything up that much in the second half? It looked like maybe they were trying to, or at least they were a little bit more successful at times working the ball inside. But you noticed any changes in what they were doing?
No, they just stayed consistent with what they were doing. We broke down on a couple of times not knowing our personnel. Sometimes we gave certain guys open shots that didn't need them. So really it was just mental breakdowns on our part. I give my respects to them. They did a good job executing their offense in the second half when they needed to.
LJ, did they seem more aggressive on the boards in the second half as opposed to the first half? They out-rebounded you in the second half. Did it seem like it seemed to me like they had a little more energy rebounding in the second half. Did it seem that way to you?
Yeah, they definitely did. It seemed like they started sending everybody to the boards. And we missed a couple of box outs, and that didn't help at all. But they were more aggressive on the boards in the second half.
David Brown, 4 for 13 overall, 1 for from the field and 1 for 7 on 3-point shots. It sounds like a pretty good day of defense, most of the time.
Right. Yeah, we made sure that we emphasized that we were going to be aware of wherever he's out on the floor. It's unfortunate we didn't take advantage because he did have a poor shooting night. But it's good to see that we did contain their score, though. So,
first of all, in the first half, I thought we played a pretty good first half, although it was a low-scoring game. I thought we were pretty focused and locked in, and had 5 turnovers, I believe, in the first half. We ended up with 5 more in the second. But more importantly, I thought we did a pretty good job on Connor Tava, not sure exactly how he pronounces that, and that. We were able to execute a little bit, and obviously we'd like to score more points. I thought some of our shot selection really hurt us in the first half. There was a point when we were up 7, I believe, and they cut that lead, and I thought that was a direct result of some quick shots, some opportunities in transition pass, and 1 pass and shoot a 3. We took 18 threes. I thought it was too many from the perspective of the threes that we took. It wasn't I didn't think they were really good threes, all of them. Not that they weren't open, some of them, but at the time when they were taken, when it's an opportunity to make their defense have to work, and down on our end we guard, we get a stop, and now we go the other way, and it was 1 shot quick, and now they're back on offense, and so I thought there were some there, and there were a couple of twos I felt that way about. But then in the second half, we end up with 5 more turnovers, and I thought really some inopportune turnovers. More importantly, some turnovers that really affected the basketball game there in the second half. And then again, I thought some shot selection a little bit also hurt us. And then they were able to keep multiple possessions alive by getting offensive boards, which really broke us down. We were able to get a stop, but couldn't come up with the rebound. And of course, Taba made his presence known there in the second half. And I thought Drake Lamont was solid for them. 10.7 rebounds, freshman. Good kid, terrific kid, and he played well and didn't do anything great but was very solid, strong, and brought a presence for them. Questions?
Normally, 10 turnovers. I mean, it's not ideal, but there's been worse days.
Right.
But when they only commit 3, and it ends up 16-6, a 10-point differential in a close game, that's going to make a big difference, isn't it?
Well, exactly. And we didn't pressure as much. Typically, since because of our lineups, we were a little bit bigger, and I thought in the first half we were where we needed to be and didn't have to stretch the court. And one of the things that you're a little hesitant with their in pressing and open up the court is their ability to shoot the basketball at multiple positions, and more importantly, Tava, he's so good at passing the basketball. I mean, he plays the game from the mindset of a guard and seeing the court, and so he poses issues for you. And he's not a kid that's going to shoot jump shots, but he's a kid that thinks the game and he passes, and so he brings another point guard to the floor anytime he's out on the court, along with Richie.
Toward the end, it looked like you got close a couple times within two. And toward the very end, it just looked like the shots weren't falling. A little bit of fatigue, maybe.
I mean, I don't know if it was fatigue, and maybe there was, but you look at the distribution of the minutes. Obviously, Eric played 35, I believe. But, you look at their minutes. Tava plays 35, Richie plays 36, Brown plays 30. I mean, they've got three guys that played 30 minutes. We have one. And so I don't know if it was necessarily fatigue, but, it's easy to just look at the minutes. Sometimes if you're getting them in big stretches, it obviously can be fatigue. But, I would tell you, it certainly – looked that way at times, especially when it came to the second effort that they were able to give on the board. And, we had 10 offensive rebounds. I didn't realize we had 10, to be quite honest. I didn't see 10, but, LJ and then Sully's able to keep some balls alive. I think, one of the differences, the main differences that I continue to see on that end of the court when you talk about offensive rebounds, you look at their offensive rebounds, and their offensive rebounds where they get them and they're able to get the ball back up, offensive stickbacks. You look at ours, most of it's very seldom that we get an offensive rebound and a putback, and it doesn't happen very often, which puts a lot of pressure on your defense and also gets you to the foul line.
Along those lines, LJ seems like he got a couple rebounds there, and they just bottled him up to where he couldn't do much with
right.
it.
And part of that is, he's got to have a little bit tougher mindset and just play the game a little bit stronger. And I always tell him, he's in traffic just to relax, and calm down and don't panic. But, there were a couple there that he's able to get his hands on but not able to secure. And then there was a loose ball there late in the second half when I got on him. He ends up getting fouled on the play, but he's reaching over and reaching for the ball instead of getting on the floor. And the bottom line is, he who gets to the floor first usually reaps all the benefits and the rewards, and it's a mentality also.
You're fairly pleased maybe with the David Brown 4 for 13.
Yeah.
Some of these others 5 for 14.
Right.
Actually,
I mean, they shot 35% now. The other side of that is they shot 35% and won on the road. So that's a testament to them. But, with the exception of Richie hitting the threes where he was 4 for 8, I thought, that we did a pretty good job. The one that we struggled with the most as far as from a percentage standpoint of shooting the basketball was Lamont Drake. Or Drake Lamont, excuse me. I don't know what I was thinking. I played against a Lamont Drake, so a long time ago. It's a true story. But, when you start talking about that, you talk about your team, limiting teams from the field and the percentage that they shoot the ball. We did that. And so, you look at that, so you try to find the other areas. And it starts, like you said earlier in the conversation, with the turnovers. And then we made free throws, needed to get there more. They got there more than we did. Some of that can be attributed to us fouling down the end, down the stretch of the game, I think, or otherwise we probably get to the free throw line more than they did. But, still, we've been able for the most part here to be very consistent in shooting our free throws. And so you want to get there and get to the line even more. Happy for LJ to go to the line tonight and make 6 for 6 is certainly a step up in the right direction for him.
one more.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay, and then I'll answer yours. I'll answer yours after. Go ahead.
Coach, I noticed that you had a lot of bench points. I think it was what was it, 26 to 9? Is that, will that be very encouraging for the future, have that many bench points?
Yeah, I think anytime you can get production off your bench, like we got tonight, certainly helps. But, you look at LJ giving us 12 off the bench and Jared, that's 23 of the 26 right there. I think Willie probably was the other 3. He made a 3, or something like that. Yeah, Willie was the other 3. That's exactly right. So, that's what you're looking for, and the ability to do that. But, I think one of the things is typically we need the production from the bench to give us, from a points standpoint. But, just not quite able to get the job done. And, at the end of the day, you have to take your hats off to them. They're a good basketball team. They really are, because they just stretch you in so many areas. Even with, Brown struggling tonight. You look at his numbers. Heyman got his from the free throw line, but, you look at his shooting percentages. And even Austin Ritchie, you look at his shooting percentages. They didn't shoot the ball great, but they have enough guys that have the ability to give you production. And it really makes it hard. And, they got 4 starters who are in double figures, 1 who averages double figures but doesn't end up there, Connor, but ends up in double-figure rebounds. So, when you look at, they had 4 guys come off the bench that total 9 points. But it was the starters and their ability to be very productive.
Almost 5.
Yeah, exactly.
With Jared, I know the final numbers didn't look too good, Jared, but in the first half, he was 2 for 4 both trays, and that if he can get going, it would certainly be a shot in the arm, wouldn't it?
Well, it does. It helps, and he had a couple opportunities when he got inside. I told him one of them late in the game to shoot the ball more. He drove it inside good. He almost shot putted it, but to go ahead and shoot the basketball. But when he's making shots, that definitely helps our team. And then he had a couple of really good looks. There were a couple he wasn't even guarded. And he wasn't able to make those, but and he gave us 6 rebounds. This is back-to-back games that he's given us 6 rebounds. So it means that he's going there and he's trying to defend, trying to board. I haven't had an opportunity to really watch the tape yet, to see from a defensive standpoint of how he did. But that production is important, and continuing. Hopefully, he's continuing to, gain his confidence. He started last game but didn't start tonight, and we went with a little bit more size to start off with. Logan McClain, and Logan was solid. Had a few breakdowns, but so did a lot of other people defensively. But I think what we've got to do is we've got to continue to somehow find a way to limit teams to one shot, especially as you start looking in the second half, you start looking down the stretch of games. There's too many times where teams are getting 2 and 3 opportunities, and of course it eventually leads to an and one, or if it doesn't lead to that, then we foul and they're shooting free throws, and so that's hard. That's tough on us, and we out rebounded them. But yet and still, I thought they had some key opportunities, key possessions where they really helped their cause.